Alright, I'm getting this YouTube stuff filled out. I'm fixing my light. This is like the 100th take I've taken, and hopefully after I figure out how to work all this YouTube bullshit, I can just make videos and not give a fuck anymore about having to fix the shit. Okay, anyway, let's get started with what I'm going to talk about. Moral subjectivity versus moral objectivity. What are the two differences? Okay, so let's get right into the topic here. Moral subjectivity, okay, is your outlook on morality. And everybody on some extent will have a subjectivist view on things. Everyone does. It's just it's called bias, okay? It's your subjectivist views. Okay, now there's also an objective truth. Okay, the truth that is objective, okay, or a natural law kind of truth. Okay? Now if I were to give an example, okay, and I actually got in a big argument with someone about this, morally subjective, okay, I would say, in my opinion, just considering the person I am, nobody go out and go get shots. Don't do it. The vaccines, because come on, they're putting mercury in that shit, and people are getting, autism. Why would you be loading your kids up with that crap? Subjectivist view. Now some people say, hey, it's preventing disease. Why aren't you loading your kids up with it? Subjectivist view. Now, but see, all this makes no difference considering there is an objective truth. That's what it's called. It's called the objective truth. The objective truth is nobody can force anybody to do anything. Nobody can force anybody to put anything into their body. Objective truth. You cannot break that. If you break that, this causes a disturbance, which I'll be getting to. Now, I'm going to quickly explain here some things about subjectivity and what happens when it goes rampant. So pretty much if somebody, this is the best way I could explain it. There is a black and a white, a right and a wrong. Now see, a lot of the New Age people, a lot of the liberals, okay, and I'm not putting the two together, even though sometimes they do go together. I don't want to even fucking hear it. I'm not putting them together. Okay? You put there's some people there. You'll see a lot of you'll even see some conservatives. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever group of people. You usually see them, and they'll say there's no such thing as an objective truth. And everything's a gray area. Oh, come on, man, you're making everything so black and white, okay? I actually have heard that before. I've gotten that one before. And yeah, I am making things black and white. And I'm going to go ahead and say why. Because there is an area of the shade of gray, and we will talk about this. Black and white. Nobody can force anybody to do anything. If you force someone to do something, you're always in the wrong. If you're not forcing anybody to do anything, you're always in the right. Okay? I've never forced anybody to get a vaccine. Therefore, on that subject, I'm always in the right. It doesn't matter what my subjectivist view on it is. See, I could yell and scream out in the street for 200 hours every week saying, don't get vaccines, don't get vaccines, don't get vaccines, and I'd still be in the right. Because I'm not forcing anybody to do anything. Okay? I'm not forcing anything upon anybody. Therefore, I'm in the right. That's how it works. And some people will say, okay, well, then where would be the gray area? Where would the gray area be? Okay? The gray area is with empathy, sympathy, and forgiveness. These are the gray areas in life. You will find gray areas here. Okay? So, you have something that's morally right and morally wrong, objectively. Okay? Now, you have your subjectivist view on a topic. Okay, let's bring up a different topic here. Okay, so let me think of something real fast. Okay, this may actually go on. Give me a moment here. I'm gonna think of something, a good subjectivist view. Drug use. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so let's say crackhead down the street. Alright, drugs are great. drugs or whatever. Drugs or this, okay? He loves them. Take them. Do them. You got a pot smoker. Love him. Trust him. Do him. Whatever. Okay, he's doing his little thing. And I don't even want to hear the debate about the marijuana right now. It's just not relative right now, okay? Then you have pissed off old grandma up the street, doesn't want to have drugs on her property, subjectivist view. No. They all three have subjectivist views on the topic. Pothead says, hey, come smoke weed with me. Crackhead says, I just want to get high. And grandma says, I don't want these people on my block. All subjectivist views. Now, and right now they're all on the right. They're all on the right because no one's forcing anyone to do anything. Now, let's say grandma tells them they have to leave their house because of drug use. Okay? It's not her house or something. Okay, let's make the scenario like she's just some woman down the street, not relative to their life. Okay? They gotta go, and calls the police. Police show up, arrest them. Pothead was still on the right. Never forced anything upon anybody. Okay? Cops, actually, it was not even the old lady, too. I mean, she actually got away with it, too, because she didn't force anybody to do anything. That's why police are so asinine, because they're pretty much always in the wrong whenever they're arresting people, unless they're being attacked or something, you know? I gotta get a little water there. I got this really good water from, to anyone, I know I'm probably going to share a lot of this with a lot of people. Swamp Creek up here on up here by the Walmart on Everett. God, the water's terrific. It comes from underground. Just to get off on a tangent there. But the police were always wrong in that situation. Now let's say grandma tried to do it herself, no police. Okay, well she would be in the wrong. Okay? Yeah, see, some people don't like to hear that because they want to think that it's okay because they're doing drugs and it's considered bad. Now, if we want to stay on the topic of drugs, I'll explain exactly where subjective views on drugs go. You have people that run big pharmaceutical companies. Okay, pharmaceuticals kill more people in the U.S. than any other drug. Fact. Okay? And you have them selling these drugs and then are supporting police for locking up people that are selling cocaine. It's or even marijuana, which is even more asinine. It makes absolutely no sense. Oh my God! I mean, that would be subjectivity. Okay, this is ego identification. That's what this is. This is ego dominance. Okay. Now the ego is a solipsistic thing, all the time, unless it's being coerced. Excuse me. Ego is solipsistic if it's dominant. If it's being coerced, it's not solipsistic. It's solipsistic when it's dominant. This is where solipsism comes from, which usually leads to nihilism or, other forms of maroon kind of behavior. Just to be kind of, to be an ass there for a second. And the ego wants subjectivism. It wants everything to be the shade of gray. It doesn't want black and white. It wants every act that it has to be justified. Okay? So, those big beef, meathead assholes that fucking, go kick people's asses because someone talks shit? They're in the wrong. Someone can talk shit to you all day, but unless they're physically taking away your rights, they would be in the right thing. Sorry, a-holes. Objective truth. Okay. Someone say, well, where do you get this idea of objective truth? Well, let's break it down, big picture here for a moment. Okay. Let's do big picture, which another thing the ego does not want to do. Ego does not want big picture. Ego likes ego picture. Okay, and a nice little subjectivist picture that it makes for itself, and it's solipsistic. separate from everything else. Okay? So, let's paint the big picture. Everything's interconnected. Everything is one. Everything is unity consciousness. Okay? We all come from one source. If we're all one and everything's interconnected, okay, to suppress another would be to suppress yourself. An individual needs to be an individual and needs to be in the world. Okay? Now, creation look, I believe in aliens. I know all you probably do believe that I would believe that, because, you know, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I would gladly say that. And it's like, you know what? Come on, really? Like, people really don't believe that there's actual aliens out there. My fucking ass. Okay? But, you know, hey, I'm going on a tangent here. Let's cut to the chase. If everything's interconnected, the individual that is born into the physical realm needs to express himself as an individual. That person needs to be using individual rights. When this is not going on, this is causing suffering. And within the energy that we all contain, okay, because we are all part of one, you are technically hurting the one by suppressing someone else. The individual has to be expressed, okay? But the individuals cannot be hurting other individuals. See, and a lot of conservative type people, whatever the fuck you would want to call them, really do not. They don't want to hear this. They think it's just goofy. It's vague thinking. Okay, but that it's too far out there. I know I'd hear that. It's just too far out there. It's not. You need to learn about how everything is in the universe. Okay, and if you don't understand this, then you don't understand simple things of the universe. Now, I'm not saying I understand everything. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm learning. Okay, we're all learning together. In fact, I'm learning how to apply these things in my life, and I feel like I've come to a far enough understanding to finally tell some other people about it. And for a long time I didn't, so I didn't say anything. Okay, until I felt like I was comfortable enough to go out and explain it to somebody. But someone would say, well, then we need police, because these things, all these conservative type people, we need police to guard us. Even the liberals, you even hear the fucking liberals say this shit. And it's just so ridiculous, because the point is that nobody can use force on another. Now, see, when do things become right for the person that's being the victim then? Well, all the time, because you can always use defensive force then. That's the key. That's the key right there. Violent force, wrong. Defensive force, right. Absolutes, extremes. Now, to all you New Age, and liberals and people that want to hear about gray areas, so you can pretty much feed your ego, which is really what having that gray area type mind is really all about. I'll tell you right now that the gray area is within three things. Right there. Sympathy, empathy, forgiveness. It's always in there. Someone comes and breaks my house and breaks my window and throws my lamp across my room and takes $5, but there's some gray areas to it. Now, if I got up and shot him, I'd always be in the right. I'd always be in the right. They'd always be in the wrong. Objective, black and white. Now, let's say I backhanded the dude, he dropped the money and ran away, And I said, I'm cool. I'm not going to worry about this anymore. That's called sympathy. Gray area. There's a reason that those three things I named were a gray area. Because there is no way to black and white them. You cannot black and white forgiveness, sympathy, or empathy. It goes all ways. And it can fit anywhere. And that's up to it is a subjective view. Those three things are subjective. So all you ego identify, look, there you go. Those three things you can be subjective about. Forcing me to get vaccines, you're wrong. You're not. It's not going to happen. And hopefully America will wake up to it. But usually from, things that I've noticed with the trends going on in America right now, I really don't have a lot of hope for it. I really just see everyone being full and ready to just lose their rights. But I do feel like it'd be good because it's good for people to say these things. It's good for people to start getting these things out because we are all part of this sort of kind of like it's just a universe of one and individuals expressing themselves. Okay? And individuals being who they are, but it's all part of one. Realistically, everybody is not necessarily that far out from you. And looking at it that way is solipsism. It's what solipsism is. It's seeing yourself outside of itself. And if you think like that, you are stuck in an ego-identified brain. You're in a brain that is ego-dominant. The ego is running the whole show. And believe me, there is no black and white on an ego-run show. It's all gray. And it can go all any way you like. And I'll tell you right now that people that think like that's Nazi Germany. Those were subjective views. Hey, let's go get those Jews. That's a good subjective view right there. That's good. It's a great example. Stalin. Throw them out. Soviet. They go out to the fucking Siberia. Subjective. It's not objectively right. And it causes suffering. This is how we continue suffering, by people not understanding the objective truth, that the individual cannot be suppressed. Every single person needs to express themselves. Now, that's pretty much what I have to say for that topic. But I'm probably going to talk a lot more about this, because this is really important to understand, because I think that a lot of people really enjoy their subjectivist views, and they really don't understand the interconnectedness between us all, which I'll probably touch in on other videos or whatever. And I'd just like to say that that was pretty much the beginning for it, but I'm definitely going to touch into that one again. And so yeah.